The movie begins with Sebastian, a skilled safe cracker and YouTuber, telling us a story about a legendary locksmith Hans Wagner, who created 4 uncrackable safes that could only be opened by those truly skilled. Hans Wagner created his 4th and final safe and locked himself inside at the end of his life. No one could crack open the safe and it was buried in the ocean. The other 3 safes are rumored to be in circulation, however their locations are unknown. Sebastian finishes editing his video and tests his skill, cracking a lock in under 8 seconds, patting himself on the shoulder. Sebastian then prepares for another boring day, grabbing coffee and heading to his job as a bank teller, where today he is being hassled by an old woman he just gradually zones out. On the television, a news report shows the beginning of the zombie apocalypse. Sebastian wraps up his day, getting home and into bed. On his lunch break the following day, he gets a notification and sees he got his first view and comment on his video, asking him if he would like to put his skills to the test, along with an address and a password. Thrilled at the prospect of testing his ability, Sebastian turns up at the location and gives his password to the burly guard at the door who allows him in. Sebastian is taken to a room where he sees a large crowd of people, looking on at 7 safes at the center of the room, with 7 contestants standing ready. Sebastian has no idea what is happening, looking around nervously, but the announcer sets them off. Everyone begins cracking their safes, so Sebastian decides to give it a shot. 3 people crack their safes right away, and Sebastian barely manages to take the 4th and final place. In the second round, the 4 contestants are given 5 minutes to crack an even more difficult safe. The announcer sets them off and Sebastian gets started right away. One contestant, Neo, cracks his safe and Sebastian follows closely, quite annoyed at Neo's smug face. The last round is a very difficult safe. Neo gets started right away, but this time Sebastian is calm and stares at the safe intently. With one touch, he figures out the inner workings and begins to taunt Neo. With 30 seconds left, Sebastian uses his heightened sense of hearing to masterfully crack the lock with only 21 seconds left on the clock. The crowd goes wild, but one person catches Sebastian's eye, a woman named Gwendolyn, a career criminal and Interpol's most wanted. The next day Sebastian is getting coffee when he bumps into Gwen. She tells him that she was his one view on YouTube and has an offer to change his life. She tells him that she is a part of a team of wanted international bank robbers who are looking to recruit Sebastian for their next job. Sebastian thinks that he is being punked, but Gwen tells him that they have located Hans Wagner's safes. Due to the zombie outbreak in America, the owner of the safes is planning to transport them to another location, giving them 4 days to crack all 3 safes. Sebastian is doubtful, but Gwendolyn tells him that this may be his last chance to live a more than ordinary life and leaves him an address. In the following days, the zombie outbreak begins to spread across the world. Sebastian hears a car crash outside and sirens in the distance. He hears scratching at his door and opens it to see a creepy dirty girl standing outside. She begins attacking him, but it turns out to be just a dream. Taking this as a sign, Sebastian heads over to Gwen's address, where she introduces him to Karina, head of logistics and master hacker, getaway driver Rolf, and Brad Cage, who warns Sebastian not to mess this up. Later, Karina briefs the team on the upcoming mission to crack 3 safes: the Rheingold in Paris with over 400 million combinations, the Valkyrie in Prague with over 200 billion combinations, and the Siegfried in Switzerland with over 7 trillion combinations, all under the control of billionaire Bly Tanaka. The team gets to Prague and scout the first location in a large van. Sebastian begins to freak out, nervous at the prospect of actually robbing a bank, but Gwendolyn calms him down, reminding him to stick to the plan. The heist is on. Under the disguise of a client, Gwendolyn enters and is able to get Sebastian to the vault, where he is amazed to see the Rheingold. Sebastian then begins to recite the legend of the Rheingold, much to the impatience of Gwendolyn. Sebastian then uses his hearing, listening to all the gears turn inside the vault. He cracks the 3 locks and opens the massive door. Inside, there is a large pile of cash and Sebastian notices that they do not have enough bags, but Gwendolyn tells him it's not about the money but where they got it from. The team then make a clean getaway, much to the delight of Sebastian. At Interpol headquarters, Agent Delacroix is looking over footage of the bank heist, ignoring his colleagues' warnings of the current zombie apocalypse. Delacroix is obsessed with catching Gwendolyn and her team, after he was able to catch their safe cracker but was shot by Brad in the process. He notes that they have 2 more chances to catch the team and is determined to do so. Later the team celebrates their successful heist. After the party, Sebastian joins Gwendolyn, who is going over plans for their next heist. He learns that Brad's real name is Alexis, who took the name Brad Cage after watching American movies as a child. Gwendolyn notes that Sebastian's name is quite a mouthful, so he tells her about a comic book hero he loved as a child named Ludwig Dieter. The team then gets to Prague, but Delacroix and his Interpol team are ready and waiting for them. Seeing that this operation will be bigger, Sebastian's nerves begin to get the best of him, but he pulls himself together and heads inside. Karina leads both Sebastian and Gwendolyn through the building, but security guards notice something amiss on the cameras. Sebastian and Gwendolyn get to an elevator together heading for the vault. She and the security guards get into a brawl, but she manages to knock them both down while Sebastian huddles in the corner. Sebastian then admires the Valkyrie, reciting the story and indicating that the locks must be solved in the order of the story. Delacroix and his team see nothing on their cameras, but based on his instinct they decide to head inside. Meanwhile, the bank's security guards notice Sebastian entering the restricted area and trigger a silent alarm. Brad then decides it's time for Plan B and gets ready for action, heading to the bank loaded with weapons. Meanwhile, Delacroix and his team rush inside the bank's vaults only to realize that they are at the wrong bank. Brad then solo clears the bank floor, taking out the guards and demanding everyone get down as a distraction. In the vault, Sebastian begins to crack the safe, but it detects his presence and reconfigures, giving him only one more shot. Sebastian goes again, this time cracking each lock before yanking the massive door open to reveal an even larger sum of cash. The two almost share a kiss before Karina interrupts them and they make their way out. Brad is on his way out when he is shot in the arm by a guard, but manages to get to Rolf. Gwendolyn and Sebastian are running to the van with the cash. Brad is able to grab Gwendolyn, but betrays Sebastian, throwing him back onto the street. With the police arriving at the bank, Sebastian runs away, stealing a bike while the police give chase. Sebastian leads them through the city, evading their traps before making his escape. Delacroix and his team pull up to the bank only to find that he is too late. Sebastian ditches his bike and runs onto a nearby train track, and is barely able to hop on a passing train. Out of breath, he is amused at how he did that until he remembers his plight. Gwen and her team are making their getaway when they begin to argue about leaving Sebastian behind. Brad tells them that they are very rich and do not need to complete the last job, but Gwen argues that the plan was to cut Sebastian loose after the job and not leave him to the cops. Gwen has had enough and decides to leave the team behind, jumping from the van, and Karina joins her, leaving Brad and Rolf to drive away. Sebastian makes his way back home, not noticing Gwen and Karina, who surprise him. Sebastian is angry at them and wants them to leave, but Gwen is able to talk him into joining them. Delacroix is alone in his office when he decides to research Hans Wagner, and stumbles upon Sebastian's video and recognizes him from the bank footage. Delacroix then assembles a team at the location of the Siegfried, which is inside a casino. The safe is to be moved in 8 hours and he is adamant that he must catch the team in the act. His team then picks up chatter from Sebastian and Karina planning to do the heist at 5 a.m. Thinking he has them, he moves his team out at 5 a.m., but finds out from the manager that they were already informed of a security risk and they already moved the safe 2 hours ago. It is then we see that 8 hours ago, Karina was the one who pretended to be Interpol and called the bank, who started the transfer of the vault. Gwen, who was hidden away on the incoming transfer van, was able to take out the 2 guards and take control of the van, while Karina fed pre-recorded radio messages to the Interpol team about the 5 a.m. heist. Sebastian and Gwen then disguised themselves as the transfer guards and then collected the vault. Sebastian is amazed by the massive complex vault, but Gwen wonders if he will be able to crack it in the moving van. Sebastian presses his ear to the vault, listening intently to all its small moving components as he begins to crack. Back at the bank, Rolf and Brad are sitting outside, realizing that the team has already left. They track Gwen's phone, which Karina picks up on in her van, and she realizes that they are close by. Rolf and Brad take off after them and Karina is surrounded by Interpol agents, but manages to alert Gwen before she is arrested. Delacroix then demands to know where the team is, offering to take care of her little brother, and they leave with Karina supposedly giving them the info. Sebastian is on lock 6 of 7, but a few sharp turns almost causes the safe to lock, but he manages to crack the safe and he and Gwen celebrate. Gwen pulls up at the docks and joins Sebastian in the back, where they open the safe to reveal it full of cash. They load up a few bags, but Rolf and Brad turn up with a gun pointed at them. Brad tries shooting Sebastian, but Gwen reveals that she took his firing pin out a long time ago. She pulls her own gun on them, handcuffing them to the back of the truck before driving away with Sebastian. Delacroix and his team turn up, and he gets his revenge on Brad for shooting him. Sebastian and Gwen pull up to their getaway location. The two share a kiss before grabbing the bags and running for a boat waiting for them. Delacroix corners them, ordering them to surrender, and Gwen draws her own gun. She offers to give Delacroix a bag of cash, but he refuses. Gwen then offers herself up, but Delacroix has to let Sebastian go. Delacroix, seeing his opportunity to finally catch Gwen, tells Sebastian that he did not see him. Gwen orders him to leave, telling him that she will find him when she gets out. Sebastian gets on the waiting boat and sails away as Gwen is taken into custody. Sebastian notices that Gwen had made him a passport under the name Ludwig Dieter, and a ticket for him to locate the last safe in which Hans was buried, and realizes that he is in love with Gwen. A few years later, we see Scott Ward and Maria Cruz, looking for a safecracker when they are directed to Sebastian. Scott shows him the plans he has for a safe, and Sebastian realizes that it is the last safe of Hans Wagner, and joins the team for the job. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications, so you can watch more movies like this. Thanks for watching.